Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. Hello. Recording this after hours, post market. Um, I guess I will do an update video on the video that I made a couple days ago, on Sunday, I believe, and just go over a couple things that we talked about in that video, and I guess go a little bit on this chart as well overall, and the significance of um, this fractal line, the significance of this one, and where I see us going in the future. Maybe in the short term more than in the long term, I guess. But I mean, obviously in the long term, AMC is gonna go up. So, but I'll talk about that as well. But I think for the short term, let's talk about this. But before I do that, let me do this. Just gotta go back, and I believe I put these somewhere down here, the other video, but I think I had those moved for some reason. Sorry guys, bear with me. Let's see. There you go. All right, let's talk about this. All right, so if you guys have not seen my previous video, please go see that. Please, I implore you guys to go see that, because this will make a lot more sense. If you've seen that video, it will make a lot more sense on what I talked about on Sunday, and the importance of this fractal line here, this one that we're going to talk about as well, and then this Fibonacci speed fan, this line as well. So let's talk about Sunday, what I talked about in terms of this fractal line here. This one right here. This one is a very extremely significant fractal line, and from the little title font thing that I just wrote here, January 2021 top, December 2016 top. Fractal. This is that fractal line here, and I remember going through this on Sunday, the importance of this fractal line here, and it is because, going back to all this price action here in AMC's history, if you guys see this right here, this is January 21, Wednesday, 27th, January 21. I think we all the old school apes understand the significance of that date. And look at this fractal. I posted this fractal line here back in January 24. All right, so it's been a couple years since I've posted this fractal line, and so from here I wanted to go back and see what other event happened here and touch in terms of what AMC's history used to be. This is AMC's first all-time high, and the first speed fan, Fibonacci speed fan, and accordingly it did everything it needed to do, and then it went up, and then it tried to break out of the all-time high, this is all-time high right here, 196 at the time, and it wanted to break out of that all-time high, and it didn't. It made a test, retraced, and it massively retraced down. So 1, 2, and then another little attempt at 3, and then down. All right. So this is a failed breakout point here. All right. This is your all-time high, failed breakout. So if you look at this fractal line, this is the same fractal line that we're seeing right in present day, that we saw on Sunday, and then we're seeing today. And then the second point here on AMC's January 27, 2021, it touched that fractal line, and this is a failed breakout point, and it retraced, it did its thing, and then it retested that same fractal, and then it launched up. And this is January 2nd. The second Fibonacci speed fan is this one, and let's just focus on this fractal line here, nothing else, just this one. All right, what is it doing here in this price action coming down? Right, it broke out Thursday, May 27, 2021, up, and then it did all this price action for, let's say, about 6 months or so, 7 months, until it came back and touched that fractal line, retested, went up, failed, retested, it got a bounce from this bottom, and then it launched up, touched this speed fan right here. It came down massively hard, and it reassessed itself, and then retested, failed, retested, and then launched again for another little squeeze. Not even calling it a squeeze, but just a little. This is just a mighty buy pressure going up, and then it failed again, retraced massively hard, and then it went down. It did all of this, right? So this is what I was talking about in that video. It did this, retrace, launched, retrace massively, launched massively, retest, back down, retest, and then and this is the last time we touched January 28, 2023. That's the last time we touched this fractal line here, and we haven't touched that ever since, until recently, until Monday. We touched that same fractal line. That was right here. Monday 22nd, 2026. This is the first time we've touched this fractal line since February 23, which has been almost 40 months. And what did it do right there when it touched that fractal line? Obviously, you had Adam Aaron and the company doing an offering, right? And it did do that offering, and this speed fan right here, this Fibonacci speed fan line, it also touched that line, right? This is from the June 2nd speed fan. This is the 0.38 line. On the opposite side of the 0.38 line, this is this side of the speed fan, and then this is essentially the bullish side of the speed line, right? So, but either way, it's still the same. It's almost the same type of the same type of respect given to the 0.38 speed fan right here, multiple times right here. And of course, this line, this is the first time we touched this line on Monday. Going in its history of that speed line, you see this right here, of this speed line right here. It essentially respected that. It tested it. It tested it. It failed. It tested it until it launched out. Same deal here. Same deal here. Same deal here. Same deal here. So this 0.38 is significant, but it's going to start being significant on this side of the speed fan right here. So this is the first time on Monday that we touched this speed fan coming in to this current price action today, right? So if you notice this speed fan right here, from the final IPO speed fan, this is the last one of the original speed fan from IPO. This is the last line right here, and it's essentially merging with June 2nd IP a speed fan, and this is the last one right here. But of course, we still got plenty of time before we can even get to this situation here. But this is also significant, right? So that's the last one of the IPO speed line. So, but more on this later. Right now, we're still focusing on the January 21st fractal line, which is this one. So, what I said on Sunday that was going to happen was that we were either one, we're going to follow a bars pattern that was going to break out, or that we were going to massively retrace down and retest these price ranges, because in the past, with touching this IPO line, we would touch it and then break down. That happened already multiple times. Like I just specified earlier, it happened multiple times in this range here, and this range, and this range, right? It doesn't mean that we're just gonna do this, and then massively fail, like in today's price action. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but what it does mean is that whatever pattern we have going on, we're gonna retest it. That's what it's essentially telling us. So right now, this is the all-time low. We had a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and a higher high. And right now we're trying to build a higher low, which it could actually come down here and retest this little trend line right here. There's 1, 2, maybe 3, right? So we're currently at $2, and potentially in the next maybe week or so, we could come back down and retest this portion, this $1.50, and then bounce up and retest this fractal line. So once we break out of this fractal line, then we're going to start seeing explosive price action. So it's important that we manage the expectation, guys. We manage expectations, because this fractal line is extremely dangerous and extremely important in AMC's history. All right. So once we get out of this, essentially we get out of this fractal line forever, then we're going to start testing everything else, and we're going to be looking at this fractal line as well. All right. So I'm not saying I'm counting on price action to get any better tomorrow, but Wednesdays and Thursdays are typically okay when it comes to AMC's price action history. But we shall see. We're probably going to retest 200 MA, and then from there, we're going to try to break out of the speed fan, and then test this in the next several days. All right. So Monday this was the first opportunity that we had to retest this fractal line, and we massively failed. All right. So the offering is just a it's just honestly, it's just a ruse. I mean, it was gonna, I think they timed this very perfectly, because this was gonna go down anyway. This was gonna test and respect that, and then was gonna go down anyway. Maybe not like this, not like a gap up or a gap down, but it was going to go down. So essentially, this offering is essentially expediting this process. So from here, I mean, again, I wouldn't be shocked if we go back down to 150, 160, and then possibly under 150, test this trend line, and then bounce out of it. Yeah, so I'm looking for this, but again, it doesn't necessarily have to do that. It could just probably maybe retest the 200 MA and then bounce out of here. So there's a couple scenarios here, but ultimately, I feel like what it needed to be done, it had to be done. All right, so at this point, it's just remain patient, guys. That's all we can do. So from here, we're gonna try to see if we could retest this and then go up. And then once we get out of this fractal, we're gonna test this fractal here. And this fractal is also important simply because there's a couple points going back. One, this is from the reverse split gap down. Significant on that. So you see that right there, plain as day right there, gap down. And it touches that point right there. This is where I put this fractal from this, and then we have another point right here at this point right here, which is Tuesday 26 January 21, before we gapped up to this candle right here, 27th. And we touch that fractal right there, which is our main fractal we were talking about. So this right here, this fractal right here, it touches right here, it touches right here, and it does a bunch of price action in between this on this pattern right here in 2020. It does a bunch of retests, going up, launching, and then retesting it, and so on and so forth. But the two main points that I wanted to point out were specifically this point right here before this is the last time we go down before we touch it back again. I'm sorry, I ruined that right there. Before we touch it back again here. And this is, so if you think about it, we go down or gap down into this September 2020, and this is the last time we touch this line until we touch it the day before the 27 squeeze, the January 21, 27 squeeze, which is the next day, right? Wednesday, 27, 2021. This is Tuesday, 26, 2021. This is Monday, 21, 2020. So all of this little price action right here before we launch for a squeeze the 27th going up. And look at that. That fractal essentially goes all the way under all this price action here. Under all this price action to touch the reverse split. Wow. Look at this. Crazy, crazy shit. Reverse split, and then we go under this, and we haven't touched it since. We haven't touched it since. This is the fractal right here, guys. The purple one right here. January 21 fractal. And this is where we're converging right here. If we respect this trend line, let's say we do respect this trend line, and if we go all the way to where it's touching the purple fractal, this is October 26, 2026. October 2026. Wow. So there is a chance again that we do play this out and respect it. But if we did all of that, we're gonna go to October 2026. I don't think that we're gonna get to this point. I think this is strong enough that is gonna help us launch our test, maybe a rejection, another test, rejection, and then a launch. Similar to 2021 Wednesday 2021 when we squoze up. So there's a lot of scenarios that can happen here, but again, I'm not really looking to have a scenario here for the future. I just want to work all this out first, and then essentially break out of this and perhaps retest this fractal line, and then get out of here. All right. So these are the two fractal lines that I got pending, the big ones that I have so far pending, and someday this is from the Sunday video. Perhaps that might happen. I'm not sure, but going back to this speed line right here, this one right here. This one right here, man. Oh, man. I am very much curious to see what happens. Maybe there is a gap, a squeeze that goes all the way and touches this speed fan line, the final one, and then it rejects. Not sure, but this one is also important, and this is the last one from the original speed fan, which is from IPO. See that right there? This is the last one, guys, right here. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm just curious to see if at any given point this becomes important. Someday this becomes important and it plays out to where it needs to play out. So I don't know, but I'm just hoping that does do that. So anyway, on the short term, guys, just look to be patient. That's what we got to do. But ultimately, we are testing this speed line, and in this fractal, we got rejected, massively rejected from this. So we do have support on the 200 AMA, and perhaps support on this one touch, 2 touch, perhaps maybe a 3 touch somewhere down here, and a bounce from here. So if it does do that, we have a trend line, and then we have perhaps maybe support on the 200, and then launching, and that gives us a lot of gas to go ahead and go do things, special things. So anyway, I just wanted to touch base on that. If you guys have any questions, definitely ask me. If you guys wanted me to do a live, I can do a live and answer questions more in detail on this and what I see potentially happen. There's a lot to learn from this. That like I said, I gotta clean most of this stuff up. But if you guys want to learn more about this, how I got to this point, definitely let me know if you guys want to do a live, and I might do a live maybe in the weekend or something, or Friday or whatever, and we can go from there. But I just wanted to touch base on this chart and the progress that we've been doing so far. But like I said, just keep your eyes peeled on 2 fractal lines. This one, the cream one, and the purple one. And those are going to be the ones that I'm going to be looking forward to later in the future with this chart. So that's all I got for now. Like I said, if you guys want to perhaps maybe do a live, we can. You guys let me know in the comments. All right. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. God bless.